So you can wash your hands as much as you want, but you're never going to get that garlic or onion smell off your hands. The smell of certain foods sticks to you because they release acidic molecules when you break them open. Washing your hands will help clean the food off you, but it doesn't do anything to remove the odor itself. Water on its own can actually make the issue even worse because it reacts with the molecules to make the smell stronger. It turns out that the best way to get rid of these smells is to rub your hands against your pots and pans, cutlery, and baking trays. As long as they're made of stainless steel, that is. This is so good at removing smells that someone even invented stainless steel soap. Trying to squeeze all of the juice out of a lemon without a strainer can be messy work. Instead of using your hands, try using some tongs. Place a lemon between the tongs and squeeze it. You'll definitely get a lot more juice with much less effort. Lint rollers were originally designed to remove tiny fibers from things like upholstery and clothing. But you can also use them to keep your silverware shiny and clean. The dishwasher might thoroughly rinse and clean your utensils, but that doesn't help much if the place you store them is dirty. If you want to remove the dirt from the utensil tray, you don't have to take the whole thing out of the drawer. Simply take your sticky lint roller and put it into each compartment, and ta-da! The crumbs and dirt are all gone. Lost your earring back? Take a small piece of pencil eraser and stick your earring in it. That'll keep it in place. Soda cans come with that little tab you use to open your drink. You know that hole in the top of the tab? It doesn't just make opening the can easier, it's also designed to hold your straw. It has more uses too. If you want to hang a picture up on a wall, but it doesn't have a wire or hanger, you can use a soda can tab for that too. You're having a coffee to go. It usually comes with that lid so you can close your drink, but you can also use it as a coaster. Take it off, turn it upside down, place it under your cup, and you'll never leave a mark on a table again. If you don't know how much spaghetti to have for dinner, there's an easy way to measure out a portion with a spaghetti spoon. The base of the spoon has a hole so you can drain water out, but it can also be used to measure how much pasta you should cook. Whatever fits in the spoon's hole is one serving of pasta. You opened applesauce and don't have a spoon with you. No need to buy one. Just take the lid, twist the end to make a handle, and use the other end as a scoop. Your little spoon is ready. Once your tissue box is empty, you don't have to throw it away. It's a great shape to store things in. Maybe you can never seem to remember where you keep your plastic bags. If you put them in an empty tissue box, you'll always know where they are. Binder clips are great little things to carry around with you when you want to leave the house carrying as few things as possible. Link one together with your keys, and you can just clip bills to it. With one of these, you'll never need to carry a wallet or purse around with you again. If you don't have a computer duster or something specifically designed to clean your keyboard, just use a cotton swab. Lightly moisten it with disinfectant and wipe between the keys once or twice a week. You may notice lots of boots have those loops sticking out on the back. Their main purpose is to help you pull your shoes on easier. Just pull it up as you push your heel into the boot. It has another handy use too. You can use it to hang your boots on a hook when they're dirty or when you want to dry them after washing. You can also run your laces through the loop if you're tying them around your ankles. It can be irritating when you buy shoes you like and then realize they're really slippery. No worries, just take a bit of sandpaper and rub it on the soles for better traction. Now they're more grippy. You can even wear them out in the rain. Okay, I admit it, I used to believe that the rougher end of the two-tone eraser was there to erase ink. The truth is that the darker side, which is usually blue or gray, can erase pencil from more delicate paper. This type of paper is usually only used by artists, so most people don't know about it. That's not all erasers can do though. They can polish your jewelry, clean electronics, and even remove that annoying residue from stickers. It can also clean scuffed up suede and dirt you might have on your walls. Uh-oh, your zipper got stuck again, and you're late. Who has time to deal with that now? Well, wax paper does. Try rubbing it on the stuck zipper, and it should loosen. Can openers can do so much more than the name suggests. For instance, they can help out with those frustrating hard plastic packages. Arrgh! You don't have to wrestle with scissors anymore. Just take a regular can opener, run it along the edge of some packaging, and enjoy never struggling to open anything again. Now, here's a top secret. Shh! WD-40 can completely remove gum from the soles of your shoes. It removes stickers, labels, and even crayon marks from walls. You could also use it to untangle your necklaces and loosen a ring if it gets stuck on your finger. Surprise! Now your earphones have a new holder. Neatly rolling them up in a Kinder Egg is a cool way to stop them from getting tangled. Hopefully. Doorknobs are mostly made of brass, and that's not a coincidence. Sure, it has a nice golden shine to a room, but it actually has a practical reason too. Brass is generally durable and, most importantly, resistant to all the moisture and oils on human hands. It's also antibacterial, so brass doorknobs actually help to keep your house more hygienic. Wooden hangers look fancier and more elegant than those plastic ones, but that's not the only reason they're more expensive. They're actually made of cedar, which is a special type of wood that repels bugs. Speaking of the wardrobe, putting a soap bar inside will leave a refreshing scent on your clothes. Nail polish is not only for beauty treatments. Thanks to its adhesive and waterproofing abilities, it's great if you need to make a protective seal or stick some things together. No more licking envelopes, the nail polish is here. It can also keep your glasses frames tighter. Fix a run in your stockings, guys, or take care of the fraying ends of the shoelaces. You get a small silica gel packet every time you buy a new pair of shoes. You should keep them because silica gel is excellent at absorbing moisture out of the environment. It can be used for much more than just shoes, though. You know how everyone says if your phone is wet, you need to put it in a jar with some rice? The rice is supposed to draw the water out, but silica is even better when it comes to absorbing moisture. You can also put silica packets in your gym bag to stop any bad smells from building up. Make sure to always be careful with silica gel, though. The warning label clearly says you shouldn't eat it because it contains toxic additives. You're writing an essay on your computer. Almost done? Oh no! The internet's gone! No problem, there's an easy way to use up some time. If you use Google Chrome, you'll see a little T-Rex show up in your browser, right next to No Internet. When this fellow appears, just press the Up key on the keyboard and you'll start a platformer minigame. You need to help the T-Rex run around without hitting any cactuses on its way. Okay, connection, no need for you to come back. I've got some records to break. We all know what a thermos is for, but it wasn't actually invented to keep your coffee warm. It was made by a Scottish scientist who just wanted a safe place to keep his chemicals at a stable temperature. So he took 2 bottles, put the smaller one inside the bigger bottle, and vacuumed out the air between them. Ah, thank you for helping me keep my coffee warm. Now, don't blame that little lump on your computer cable for getting stuck somewhere for the umpteenth time. This cylinder, shapes and colors may vary, actually prevents interference from other signals, like those your phone emits. A lack of privacy in public bathrooms, I mean those large gaps beneath where normal doors tend to be, is there for a reason. This way, people do their business faster and there are fewer lines. Also, if something goes wrong, it's easy to find a person who needs help. In London, there are some poles that kind of look like street lamps, but there are no bulbs. Well, their official name is stink pipes, and they're a thing of the past now, but they used to come in handy back in the 19th century. These hollow poles would vent away the air and explosive gases with bad smells to prevent, shall we say, unwanted consequences. Blank pages in the books aren't actually for the author's signature. It's all about the manufacturing process. Books are printed on large sheets, so one sheet can fit in 4 pages. If a book has an odd quantity of printed pages, chances are you'll get a blank one for notes. Now, originally, golf balls were smooth, but some time ago, players noticed that overused balls with damages flew better than brand new ones. At some point, they started producing balls with dimples. Windshield black dots help disperse the sun glaring right into your eyes. This sort of frame keeps the UV rays away, so it serves as sunglasses for your car. The tab on the rearview mirror has obvious functions. It holds your air freshener, that cute toy. But in reality, It was meant to be a tumbler between day and night mode. It reduces the glare from the car behind you, so you can't be blinded. Colored dots on chip bags aren't as useful as those on the windshield, but they have a purpose too. Manufacturers need them to control the package color and show what ink color was used on the package. No big deal. Your microwave has a silent mode. Seriously. If those beeps drive you nuts, press 1 or 0 and hold. It might work. Also, there is sometimes a silent button you kept ignoring all this time. Anyway, there are no two identical microwaves, so a manual should come in handy. Grocery cart loops have more functions than you think. You don't want to put your fancy white jacket in a cart next to carrots and Coke. This little hook-like thingy helps organize all the stuff in your cart better, so you can enjoy your shopping trip. Another thingy we often neglect is a point on an ointment cap. Most tubes are usually sealed with plastic film or foil, and opening it with your fingernails isn't the best idea. A point easily opens even the most safely sealed tube. Automatic lip liners and eye pencils have a sharpener installed in the package. The lid on the back part of the pencil doesn't only reveal the color, you can pull it out and sharpen up the product. Toothpicks come in different varieties, and one of them is a bit puzzling. Sometimes they have several grooves. The first one is weak, so it's easy to break the toothpick in two. The smaller section with one more groove can be used as a stand to avoid the contact with the table. You can make a makeshift stand for disposable chopsticks. They have a sort of lump at one side before you split the pair. So next time you have a sushi dinner, try breaking off that lump instead of regular splitting. When you want to take a sushi break, just place the stick on this stand. Yeah, you've heard before that a drawer beneath your oven is there for keeping the food warm if the guests are running late. Here's one more hidden function. You can slow cook on lower temperatures in that drawer too. All the bottles used to be of the same green color once. But later it was discovered that brown ones are way better at blocking UV light. Say no more. Stickers on fruit seem to provide zero information about the product. But if you look closer, you'll find some numbers that can tell you more. A 5-digit number where the first number is 9 is a good sign. You're about to buy an organic product. A 4-digit number starting with a 3 or 4 means it was conventionally farmed, and if the number starts with an 8 and there are 5 digits, well, it's best to leave it on the shelf. A dollar has its secrets too. A large letter with a rim shows which bank is responsible for issuing this bill. There are 12 banks distributing currency. For example, the L says it was printed in San Francisco. Now, some cups look like they're chipped on the bottom, but they're produced this way. In fact, these dimples are supposed to keep the cup in place on wet surfaces, and it doesn't let excess water accumulate while it's in a dishwasher. Small hollows in a chocolate box are designed for chocolate lovers. Press the closest deepening to the chocolate that you want to grab, and it'll jump out of the box right into your hand. Bath foam can be more than just a pleasant smell. It also has a sort of thermoregulatory function. The bubbles save water heat, so you can enjoy your bath a little longer. Disclaimer: it works for acrylic bathtubs only. Those made of metal lose heat fast, no matter how much foam you make. A good doorknob is one that's made of brass, bronze, or some copper alloys. These metals have an anti-germ effect. Bacteria spread way slower on them. They also get rid of germs pretty fast, within a couple of hours. Nope, it doesn't mean you don't have to wash your hands. If you pour milk or juice right onto your t-shirt every single time, you're probably not doing it right. Try pouring it from the other side of the carton. It sloshes less and is easier to control. There's only one way you can store your peanut butter right. If you place it the regular way, it may get a bit solid before long. The trick is to store it upside down so the oils don't stay on the bottom all the time and distribute evenly. A dinner jacket has small pockets above regular ones, and they're not useless. They're called ticket pockets and were designed so that gentlemen wearing such jackets could easily access the tickets and show them on a train. They could also store cash and other small loose items in a super convenient way. Now, whatever coffee shop you go to, all the disposable cups look exactly the same, only the logo changes. The secret here is the special shape that allows you to enjoy your drink easily. The top is always wider, which allows it to accommodate your nose while you're drinking, and the bottom is always narrower, so that anyone can hold it easier, even if the hand is quite small. This width difference also allows the cups to stack. Triangular flaps on small juice cartons can help control unwanted spillage. If you flip them and use them as handles for the carton, you won't press the package, so the juice won't be squeezed uncontrollably. Now, if you have a mason jar and a blender with a screw on top, this secret is life-changing. You can actually put a mason jar directly onto the blender and make any shake you want without having to wash the blender jar. Just don't put your device on max. There's one trick you can use to make salt and pepper come out smoothly. Grab a container with pepper or salt, turn it upside down. There are ridges on the bottom of the shaker. Now grab the second container and rub those ridges together. The vibrations will make the product literally flow out. Most headphones, both wired and wireless, have little holes. They're needed to ensure good sound. The air circulates through those holes, which is important for the sound quality. Stick sachets were designed smartly. No need to tear one of its edges. The right way is to tear them down the middle. Now, you may say it's not a big difference, but at least there's less mess with those torn paper bits. If 2 zips for one section seem a bit too much for you, it's probably time you started using them wisely. It's a great pickpocket proof. You can put on a small lock on those zippers and make sure no one but you can open your backpack. Hide the key in the 5th pocket on your jeans that was originally designed to keep watches safe. So, now you know. So, grab your phone. Good, now turn it around. You see that little dot between the camera and the flash? That's a tiny microphone. Bet that's something you didn't know. What's it doing there? Well, when you're on a phone call, this little guy is busy at work reducing the amount of background noise other people hear when you talk. That's right, if it wasn't for this, calls wouldn't be as nearly as crisp as they are now. You're lost in the woods and you're rushing to get back to camp. You suddenly remember you've got something that can help. You grab one of your chest straps from your backpack and whistle on it. Yup, that's right. A lot of bags have this feature in them, especially the ones made for the outdoors. It isn't long before you hear the call of one of your friends and you follow them back to the warm campfire, saved by this cool bit of design. If you're a curious person, you might have wondered what that little pocket in your jeans is doing there. You know, the one that's inside the bigger pocket? People often use it to store coins and bills, but it's not meant for that. It's actually designed to store your pocket watch safely. Ah, maybe that's where the name pocket watch comes from? You finally arrive home after a long day's work. You understandably don't feel like cooking, so you sit on the couch and watch a bit of TV and order some takeout. How about Chinese? Ah, perfect. There's the doorbell. That has to be your food. It smells delicious. Wait, before you grab the plates, do this instead. Open your Chinese food container on the table. It becomes the perfect plate, and it's cardboard, which means no cleaning either. The can of soda you got with your food has a cool feature too. Look at the tiny metal tab there, the one you use to open the can. Guess what? You can fit your straw in there. In fact, that's exactly what they're made for. Go ahead, try it for yourself. If you're not at your computer, take a look at your keyboard right now. If you're not, that's okay. Here's one on the screen. The keycaps are arranged in what's called the QWERTY layout, named after the first 6 keycaps below the numbers. As it turns out, it wasn't always this way. They used to be laid out alphabetically, which would make more sense when you think about it. The alphabetical layout fell out of use because long ago there were things called typewriters. Remember those? You press down a key and a type bar would fly out, hitting an inked ribbon and stamping a letter on the piece of paper. Eventually, typists got good at this and typed faster. Too fast. The type bars would eventually get caught in a logjam with each other, ruining the flow. To fix this problem, they made keyboards with randomized keycaps. The new layout actually worked better because it made typing harder, helping to slow typists down and prevent the type bars from getting stuck. Much better. Today, no type bars, no typewriters, mostly. People are still fast nowadays, but you just can't help but wonder who is faster though, us or them. Keyboards have another hidden feature too. Have you ever noticed that the F keycap and the J keycap have little bumps on the bottom of them? As it turns out, they're there to help people figure out where they are on the keyboard without having to take their eyes off the screen. Grabbing a takeaway cup of coffee at your favorite cafe might be just what you need to fully wake up in the mornings. When you get back home or to work, though, you might be afraid to stain your desk when you put the steaming hot coffee down. Worry not, your plastic lid isn't only good for keeping your coffee hot, it also doubles as a coaster. In fact, they're the perfect size to hold a cup. Try it for yourself. This one's going to come in handy if you're a home cook. If you're like me, you might have a bit of trouble deciding how much pasta you need for just one serving. Well, if you've got a pasta scoop, grab that. Most people don't know what the little hole in the middle is for and assume it's supposed to help with water drainage or something. It turns out that it helps you measure out a perfect serving. Just see how much dry spaghetti you can fit in the hole and use that as one portion. Out at the store buying coat hangers, you might notice that the plastic ones feel cheaper than the wooden ones. There's a good reason for this. Wooden hangers are made out of cedar wood. The big difference between the two is that the wooden ones repel bugs and moths. They're stronger and last longer too, perfect for things that might stay in your closet for a long time. When you brush your teeth, you might have noticed that your toothbrush has blue bristles. They're not just there for show. In fact, they're there to tell you when it might be time to switch toothbrushes. These bristles lose their strength and color when the brush has been worn down, letting you know that it's time to get rid of it. Microwaves often look a bit like mini TVs, especially ones where you can clearly see the black film around them. This is actually a really important feature that's used to keep the radiation from slipping away. They're called Faraday cages, if you want to get technical. This is why you can stand next to a microwave without melting into a puddle. That's not to say you should stand in front of the microwave and watch your food heat up, but at least you know you won't grow an extra ear or something. Okay, not really. Some ovens have a drawer under them. It's tempting to use this to store random junk you don't use often, but there's a better use for it. Instead, this should be used to help keep the food that's waiting to be served hot. You can take it out of the oven and store it right in this drawer, keeping your oven free for you to carry on cooking. Now, you're on a plane looking around trying to pass the time before takeoff. When you examine the window, you notice it has a little, very tiny hole on its bottom. Don't worry, it's not broken. It's there to relieve the pressure that builds up over time as the plane goes up and down. It also lets the air flow through it. Now, raise your hand if you've ever ridden on an escalator and scrubbed your shoes on its bristles. Hey, I'm guilty of doing that, maybe more than I should. It's not there to clean your shoes, though. It's an important safety measure. It stops your shoelaces, clothing, and other stuff from getting stuck in there, avoiding a nasty scene when you go to get off. Sometimes a piece of fabric comes with your new clothing. It usually comes along with the extra buttons in a little plastic bag. You might think it's just a piece of fabric to use for future patching, in case you rip it. But that isn't its purpose at all. It's actually supposed to be put in the washing machine to test how it reacts to various washings. Now, you don't have to worry about shrinking your new expensive coat because you know how it'll react to the wash. Bubbles! Who doesn't love bubbles? Most people have fond memories with bubble blowers as a kid. But as adults, the closest thing we can get to recapturing that feeling is with bubble baths. After a hard day at work, there's nothing better than dipping into a nice warm bubble bath. Right, guys? And the bubbles do more than just clean you. If they're high-quality bubbles, they'll serve as a heat insulator. So they make sure that your bath stays warm for longer. Boxes of chocolate sometimes have these mysterious holes in them. When I'm eating a box, or two, I usually ignore them and take out the chocolate by pressing the bottom of the plastic. But it turns out that I've been doing it wrong the whole time. If you press one of the holes, the chocolate comes right out. I'm certainly going to start doing this from now on. Here's another one from the kitchen. The handle on a pot will often have a hole in it. Most people use this to hang them on a nail on the wall as an easy storage method. The hole has another use too. When you're cooking, you can use this handle to hold your wooden spoon or whatever else you might be cooking with. This makes sure you don't make a mess when you put it down. Glass bottles usually come with a cap in them. Well, duh. Otherwise, the liquid would just spill. In this cap, there's a plastic liner that seemingly has no purpose, right? Wrong. It's a seal. No, not a seal. A seal. It's the kind that helps keep your drink fizzy. Just the refreshment I needed. A lot of doorknobs are made out of brass, and it's not by chance. They're made out of this specific material because it's bacteria's worst enemy. That's right, it destroys them. Perfect for those who want to keep a clean house and avoid germs. Hey, you want a fish? Fitness trackers and fancy smartwatches are fine for monitoring your heart rate and even the miles you cover on a run. They're not so good at measuring the number of calories you've burned, though. A 2017 study from the Stanford University School of Medicine showed that fitness trackers and smartwatches have error margins of less than 5% when it comes to measuring heart rates. That's pretty good, so you can be confident in whatever reading you're getting. The problem is with the devices measuring energy expenditure accurately or calendars burned. Even the best was off by an average of 27%. The worst was off by a crazy 93%. That means they're very unreliable and shouldn't be trusted. Fitness trackers don't work well for measuring calories because we all have different heights, weights, diets, and many other things. That means we all burn calories at completely different rates. The trackers are often programmed with a preset average height and weight. So, if you're going to use one, take it with a grain of salt, unless you're trying to reduce your sodium intake. Sunscreens have only one job to do, and that's protecting us from the harmful ultraviolet rays. In 2017, though, a study found that many popular brands failed to protect at all, with only 1 in 4 working. Most sunscreens didn't protect users from ultraviolet A and B rays at all. Some manufacturers also claimed that these products had an SPF of over 50, which sounds very high quality, but the actual SPF was much lower than that. The misleading labeling means we aren't as protected as we think when we're at the beach. So when you're out shopping for sunscreen, make sure you look at the ingredients and apply more than you think you should. Ooh, sports drinks, an essential item for anyone working out. These bright-colored drinks are filled with electrolytes that will increase your performance and rehydrate you fast. The problem is, we're not all athletes, so most people would be better if they just drink water instead. Sports drinks are made up of water with some minerals and lots of sugar, coloring, and flavor. Those minerals are electrolytes, which can help our bodies go longer. Your exercise habits, the duration, and the intensity of your training all come into whether you really need that extra boost. While sports drinks can benefit athletes engaged in long or intense training, they're not really necessary for most gym goers. Sports drinks are probably pointless if you're only doing light to moderate exercise, like walking or jogging, over a short period of time. After using a toaster for most of your life, most people still haven't figured out how to get a perfect heat setting. It turns out that burnt toast is probably just down to a simple misconception. Those numbers on your toaster aren't heat levels at all. They're actually minutes. The dial is basically just a timer. That means all you need to do is look up how long it takes to toast certain things, and you'll never ruin your breakfast again. Hey, I like burnt toast. I'm used to it. Most of us rely on wireless technology to carry out normal everyday tasks. It can be very frustrating when technology stops working and interrupts your day. In fact, the only thing more frustrating might be not knowing why it isn't working. The worst culprit here is your cell phone. It'll often show really great reception, but somehow can't make a phone call. The bars on a cell phone actually don't mean anything. The way they receive the signal differs a lot between different makes and models of phone. There's even a big difference between what the bars mean from one phone to another. Meanwhile, watching a progress bar showing the percentage of time left to complete a download on our phones or PC can be tedious. Sometimes they just seem to be stuck doing nothing. Bad news, they don't really work. At least not in the way we think. The system updates the progress bar when certain milestones are reached. A progress bar at 50% doesn't mean half the file has been downloaded. Almost all the files could have been downloaded. The point of them is to give you something visual to look at. Progress bars aren't accurate because downloads and transfers have too many variables beyond the system's control. Internet speeds and network availability are the coordinators of how quickly a download will complete, while your computer's hard drive determines how fast things process and information gets put in the right files. It's probably best to make a coffee or set things up to download while you're in bed, instead of constantly checking up on an incorrect progress bar. Elsewhere, stopping at a crosswalk and pressing the button hoping the walk signal will come up might just be a waste of your time. It turns out that all that button pushing could be for nothing. Some crosswalk buttons need to be pressed, but others don't do anything at all. The crossing symbol will just light up whenever it wants to. Some crosswalks even switch between needing and not needing a button press, depending on the time of day. That said, it can be difficult for all of us pedestrians to determine whether a crosswalk button works or not. When in doubt, just push the button anyway. You don't want to stand around waiting for no reason. With more people going into the water and sharks, living in the water, the fear of bumping into a not-so-friendly shark is ever increasing. This shared water space has pushed many companies to try to create shark repellents. This sounds like a good idea that should help keep both people and sharks more safe. Companies have tried everything – sprays, wetsuits, magnets, wax, and even electronic devices to repel the scary fish. The bad news is none of these products are confirmed to actually work. One, in particular, makes the sound of an orca. Sharks aren't too fond of being in the same area as them, but does pretending you're an orca stop a shark from biting you? If you feel safer using them, then go right ahead. But if you're looking for a shark deterrent that's 100% effective, it's just not available. Psst, here's what actually works. Stay out of the water. Rushing into an elevator and repeatedly pushing the closed door button in the US is basically a huge waste of time unless you've got the special trick. In 1990, the US passed a Disabilities Act for elevators, which meant that elevators had to ensure that someone with a disability had time to get inside one. If you're on crutches, use a cane, or travel in a wheelchair, you don't have to worry about someone accidentally closing the elevator doors before you've had a chance to pass through them. There's one important loophole to this. If you're an emergency or maintenance worker, you'll have access to keys and codes that make that button operational. This is just another example of a placebo button you're invited to push, just to make you feel like you've done something. That impatient finger poking isn't doing anything. Getting a bit warm or cold in the office? Better adjust that thermostat. Unfortunately, in the vast majority of office buildings, the system controls are kept inside air ducts, not on the wall. Technicians install dummy thermostats to give workers the illusion that they're dramatically changing the air conditioning or heat. Some are set to change 1 or 2 degrees, but they're often not connected to anything at all. Dummy thermostats came about around the 1960s. As heating prices rose, building leases often required employers to stay within specific temperatures. Faced with this problem, fake thermostats became the new rage for businesses. They offer people some feeling of control while keeping the temperature in the right range. Now, ever come across some premium PC cleaning software that promises to clean your PC and make it go as fast as when you purchased it? Yeah! These third-party PC cleaners are often made to seem like they really work, but they usually don't do much of anything at all. They'll detect non-problems and list them as problems. The worst example of this is when they list browser cookies and temporary files as having an effect on the computer's speed, when they don't. It's better to stick to the operating system's built-in cleaner. It'll work fine if you ever need to clean your computer and save you having to splash out on one that does pretty much the same thing. Well, that's all I got. Time to burn some toast.